All right, what's up? What's up? Y'all know what it is. This is Passive Money Podcast. This is Alex. Other way.
Other way.
There you go. This is Alex. I'm Kirby. We just normal guys out here just trying to give y'all the information on finances. And what we're trying to do is just give you insight on what it's like to live a passive income lifestyle. And people get confused with the word passive as is if you just sleep and don't do nothing. The truth is, if you work hard at the beginning of the aspects, you will get to that point where you can make money in your sleep. They call it mailbox money and things like that. So, but we here to try to give you the step-by-step guidelines on how to get to that point in life. We went through the grindstones, working a 9 to 5 jobs, lived a paycheck to paycheck lifestyle, but then we realized that it was something bigger to the picture than just living paycheck to paycheck. So with that all being said, welcome to the show. Like I said, that's Alex over there, one of those ways.
Both ways.
Alex over there somewhere. So we're gonna talk about Alex, going from 0 to 50K and the steps and the parameters that he took to get there. It's not just, oh, I laid in the bed and 50K showed up in my lap. It's really hard work to start the ball rolling. And then once you get the ball rolling and pushing it down a hill, just like a snowball, the snowball will get bigger and bigger and bigger on how much you get. But we're going to go to 0 to 50K right now, starting fresh out the household, how it looks, how you can go from 0 to 50K instead of burden yourself. Burden yourself in debt like I did before you can get to that milestone. And Alex here to give you good insight, especially for those tweeners, the ones that's in that 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old range, 20-year-old range. And then, with news coming out now, people staying at home more, giving you that beginner's guide on how you start to set your network up to make it bigger down the road. And as Alex, being 23 years old right now, he has a great insight on, it hasn't been that long since he left his house and things like that. So he can give you a better one-on-one than I can because it's been 20 years since I left the house. But with all that being said, that's what we're gonna get into today. And Alex is gonna give you the rundown and we're gonna see how it shakes. So hey Alex, how's it going?
Hello. How's it going?
All right. So today we talking about the big move, 0 to 50K. 50K is a big number to a lot of people. $1 is a big number to me. Besides my Wendy's 5 for 5, of course. But that 0 to 50K, that's a big milestone because once you have that 50K of net worth or 50K of cash that you can start really making moves. You can start pivoting and setting up a big position in the stock market, or you can pivot and put up 20% down payment on a rental property, or you can arbitrage or house hack or move into it or have a down payment for a duplex, and then you can rent out the other side. So both of them could so the tenant can pay for the rent, and then you can start the ball rolling on passive income. So just getting to that 0 to 50K, walk me through the steps on how you did it and how you got there.
All right. So at first I would say that when I started selling online, that was probably the first step to getting to 50K. It At 16 years old, I didn't have a job, so selling on eBay gave me some income, not a whole lot. There's some more glamorous stories of other sellers that made hundreds of thousands. I was not one of those people making hundreds of thousands online, but it did give me some income and a good start. So up until graduation, I had graduated with probably around 3,000 in cash and then 3,000 in inventory. That's what I have notated from what I could remember. So that's about 6,000, but that's so my 0 to 50K, this is going to be net worth instead of, liquid. So I would say by graduation, which I was 17 years old, going on 18, had about 6,000 between cash and inventory. At 18, I had started working. I'm sorry, had started working. Yeah, yeah, had started working at 18, right as I turned 18, and really had no expenses, just saving those paychecks, and then also at the same time buying inventory, um, which helped kind of speed up the selling process. That was a temporary job, and then about 3 months after that, I got a job with the company I'm still working at now.
Hold
And
on, hold on, hold on. Wait. You ain't about to let this slide. When you was 18, what were you working? Where were you working at?
so, oh, okay, so by 18, Amazon,
Okay.
Amazon in the warehouse. Yep.
Okay.
Um, so then eventually got a job at Rooms to Go, and still currently working there now. And that job, I um, still had very low expenses, kept saving, and eventually, so key point, keeping my expenses low. I still at that point was still living with my parents. And then soon after is when I had moved out, but I still managed to keep my expenses low. And by 19, I had 7,000 invest or 7,000 saved, sorry, and roughly 20,000 in inventory. So, um, so about 27,000 net worth, I guess you could say. And then um, continue to keep my expenses low. And so I started to invest a little bit, but I wasn't focusing on investing at that point. I was mostly just saving and buying inventory. Buying inventory was I guess, my form at that time of investing, because it was the only thing I could that I knew of that I could put my money into and make a return off of my money rather than it sitting in savings. So I was more prone to doing that. Eventually, I started, and I'll get to this by the time I started turning 20, is when I was starting to really look more towards getting a house. So I started saving more. And um, so I would say by 20, mid 20 around there, I had about 12,000 saved. And
Hold on, let's slow down a bit. So you said that. So when you say you start saving more, was that saving more from your working income, or was that from the
it
antiques, or how did that work out?
it was both, really. So by the time I wanted to put more money away for a house, I was using, I was saving, you know, I was using my paychecks to pay for expenses. And then after the fact, I was saving. And then anything I made from antiques, I, that was like basically all profit minus what I had paid for the item and sold. But so I was
So
using that money as well to put away.
right. So for the about let's talk percentages here. For percentage you saved, you had your side hustle with the antiques, and then you had your job. How much of your work, I mean, how much total, it don't matter where it's coming from, how much total was you saving percentage wise of your income to start moving on to that front of buying a house?
I was putting away, like, because I remember doing like a breakdown, like I'm gonna put, yeah, that's what it was. I was putting this, like, say like 25% to back into inventory, and then I was learning a little, where I was trying to dabble a little bit on investing, so I was putting like 10% here, and then another 25% to savings. My expenses were really low. I mean, like we had talked about in another video, like my rent was really low. Food and stuff like that didn't really go out, so that was low. So a lot of it was getting invested in or saved in one shape or form, whether it go into inventory where I knew I could turn around and sell it or flip it and get my money back, or best case, yield a profit. Putting it directly into savings, putting it into like the Acorns app or something. Another thing I was doing, and I just remember this, I was buying silver, like pure silver, and I was buying and selling silver coins. So that was another way I was making money off of my money. So I guess in those forms, from what I can remember, I had about, I'd say $15,000 to $20,000 when I was about to, yeah, going into 21 years old. So still 20, around that age. And then I'd say by 2021, I had 60, let's say 60 to 70,000 between everything. So I know we skipped over the 50,000, but it kind of just looped over that. So I don't remember exact point on when I was like, oh, today's the 50 grand mark, but it was around that age, 20 years old.
So at that point, at between 0 and 50, there was a point. It had to be a point where you was just mentally stuck at, where you see you at like maybe 10,000 or maybe 12,000, and you couldn't get over 12,000. What was that like, and then how did you get over those hurdles?
Yeah, so it's funny because I remember as I was making a little bit, right, like money, I had friends, and I don't want to call anyone out, but there were people in my life that needed financial help. And I think those were some of the mistakes I made to just go ahead and help them out. And I realized after I had one friend ask several times in a row um, for money that, this is holding me back if I have my own goals. And so it was hard to, um, learn to tell them no. Um, but I would say that's probably what kept me in a blocking stone almost, is people in my life asking for money basically.
And then, so how did you deal with that? And then
It
get
was hard.
over that element.
It was kind of hard. I gotta give you props. You helped me out a lot, saying no. So, but before that, it was kind of just like trying to make excuses as to why I couldn't. Because it can be, in the beginning, it can be hard telling your family or friends or anyone no, if you're accustomed to helping them and keeping that relationship, and because you want to help them, but at the same time you have to view it in a different way, as they have to be willing to help themselves first before they can just come out of the blue and ask you for help. And
Right. And the reality of it is the more you help them, the more you just financing their lifestyle. You're not helping them financially. You might help them over that minor hurdle that they have, or pay a light bill or pay some outrageous bill that they knew they had, but they act like they just it just showed up yesterday.
yeah,
But the only thing you're doing is financing their lifestyle. So once you pay them, maybe they pay you back, maybe they don't, and then they keep on living the same life, but they don't consider, or they don't look at the fact that you made the sacrifice to get that money to even give to them. Or the question I always ask is, how do they even know to call me unless they knew I was doing something right with money, that I would even have the money to do it? I mean, maybe they call me on a whim the first time, but then after I start talking to them about finance, then it's just they knew, like, oh, well, I'm going to live my life. But subconsciously, they're thinking, oh, well, if I'm ever in money trouble, I'll just call him because I know he's doing right with money. But people don't take that onus on themselves to do right with money, so they don't have to ask other people for it.
yeah, and that was kind of the mistake I made of, and I won't say it was with everyone I knew, but with there were people and are people that I know that, you know, I shared what I was doing with them and hoping they would take interest in that, and maybe I could show them what I'm doing and they do it as well. But it
Right.
only works like that in a perfect world, from what I've come to learn. You know, like people aren't willing to make the same, you know, take the same steps as you. It's not easy convincing someone like, hey, yeah, just start selling on eBay, you know. But to me, it was just like that's a simple thing that you can do to actually get some extra income if you're struggling as bad as you say you're struggling. Like just take some of the steps that, you know, are out there, some of the opportunities that, you know, everyone has a phone, everyone can download the eBay app. There's things out there, but people closest to you would rather, you know, ask you for help because they know they can come to you. And
And like you did in the video, you know, or over here, or it's one of these places over there. Yeah, but like you said in that video, you know, 5 ways to, you know, cut costs or lower the cost of moving into a new place. The arbitrage of the last step 5 you had there was selling the things instead of just throwing them away in the trash, selling the things that you don't need anymore, don't want anymore, instead of just giving them away. The
right,
arbitrage is easy. I mean, it's a lot of people every day, all day, they're giving away furniture and they're, you know, giving away knickknacks or selling stuff for pennies on a dollar when you can take that and then flip it on a, you know, Facebook website or something like that, or offer up or whatever, what may have you. And that will give you, you know, extra income coming in, and that's just something that you could just do on, you know, extra. So I mean, even if you don't have, you know, the side hustle like you have, what would be some of the keys, or what would be some of the, you know, ideas or influences or words of thought that you would give to the, you know, younger person or somebody that's looking right now, that's, you know, sitting there at zero, sitting there, you know, at a negative net worth or something like that, and they're trying to, you know, get their first 50K so they can use that as a bridge to do other things in an investment, you know, invest to gain passive income. What would those steps would, I mean, what would the word of advice be to, from you to them, to say, you know, hey, you can do it, or, you know, what are the key points that you took away from your journey from 0 to 50K?
yeah, I mean, I know, like you had mentioned just now, not every, like people might say, oh, I don't have anything I can sell. I hear that excuse a lot, and I don't believe it because there's, from what I've learned about selling online, people will buy anything. And if it doesn't sell in one marketplace, it's going to sell in another. There's items that I sell on a Facebook marketplace or OfferUp, or you know, in any market that requires meeting in person. There's items I sell in those markets that I don't sell on eBay. And then there's items I sell on eBay or, you know, any other platform online that I wouldn't sell in Facebook, you know. Um, you can sell anything. Like I'm pretty sure anyone can find used shoes, you know, used pair of clothes that they're not using, and people will buy it if you list it on eBay, if you list it, try anywhere. And I'm not saying you're gonna get, you know, hundreds of dollars off of it, but you don't need a helmet laying around your room to start to get
Right.
something going. You know, like it can really start with anything. And like we mentioned, I think we talked about this in the interview with uh, I call him MKTV, Jonathan.
Yeah, yeah.
The interview we mentioned with him, where I mentioned you could start with something as little as $10. You know, go to Goodwill, go to, you know, Salvation Army, Goodwill, flea market, anywhere. It only starts with that. And if you have just the slightest amount of money, you can find really good deals in these markets, buy your first item, sell it, and then the money that produces, don't even touch it. Like I said, if you're like I said in the interview with Jonathan, if you're used to living paycheck to paycheck with your job, stay living paycheck to paycheck with the income from your job, and then the income you make on the side, grow that and do something with that. Anywhere, like every time I go to a Goodwill or a flea market, it's just looking, like be there with your phone open, looking on eBay, looking at the items around you, typing in what you might think it is, get ideas of what it is to type in the search bar and see similar items that are selling, get a price in your head. And then if it comes out to a good deal, and I've been to flea markets where I've seen items I knew I could sell for $15, $20, and I'm sitting there like, I wonder what he wants. And then they just go, give me $1 for it. I mean, in these types of markets, people are just trying to get rid of their junk. Like they don't care. So you can always pick something up really cheap and just flip it online.
And the secret to that, and I realized with arbitrage, and that's what it's really called. You buying it from one person and sell it to somebody else. Somebody who don't want it, you buying it for cheap and then sell it to somebody else. It's called arbitrage. The secret I realized with that, and because I already know people will say, well, why would somebody pay $15 for something that I paid for $1? People people forget the thing of convenience. Convenience costs money.
Right.
And what I mean by that is most people, let's just call it lack of a better term, they're lazy. They just want to click on their phone and see something and buy it and then have it delivered to their house. They're not going to go out there and search and do the work to get the stuff done.
Right.
And it's a secret that people don't understand. It's the reason why when you go to the stores like Walmart and things like that, the groceries or beverage products are cheaper. But when you go to a convenience store or a gas station, it costs more because you can go in a gas. When you go into a Walmart, you got to go through the big store, and then all the drinks are in the back, and then you can pay a cheaper price for going through that whole rigmarole of dealing with all those people. But it's called a convenience store for a reason. You can go in and go out, but you're paying for the convenience. So
Right.
that dollar, $2 difference from Walmart price to the gas station price, it's just the convenience of you being able to walk in and walk out within under a minute. Then it would take you 5, 10, 20 minutes if you was going to Walmart. You're paying for convenience. That right there is the arbitrage that will separate a $1 item that you went to go get from like a Goodwill or something, and you can sell it somewhere else for $15, $20. Or in a case like your helmet in a previous video, you can buy something for $30 and sell it again for $250.
Right. No, you're absolutely right. I remember when I was buying from a manufacturer in China, um, like if you set up like a relationship or get in contact with a manufacturer in a different country, you can get items you would see on Amazon or eBay for like pennies on the dollar. I mean, like the unit will cost about 30 cents to manufacture, and you'll see it online for $20, $25. But then people will be like, well, then why don't I just buy it from the manufacturer? Like you said, you're buying convenience, because if you do go straight to the manufacturer and you just want the product, they're not going to sell you one unit. You have to buy, hundreds and thousands of units. So the sellers that are putting these items on, they're going through all the work to set up, distribution and everything to get the product overseas to you. And, that you're absolutely right. You're paying for the convenience of the fact that they, set up a connection with the manufacturer, went through the whole process, waiting for them to manufacture the item, put the barcode on it and everything, get it packaged, shipped over to you, and then finally they can sell it to you for, what the market is over here.
Right. So going back to the 0 to 50K or 0 to 76K.
Mhm.
So what was the time frame? Let's talk about time frames. So you started at 0 at age what, and then you got to 50K within how many years?
I'd say, like, if we started from the very start, I'd say 16. It's probably when I started uh, making money, I guess. And then I would say up until 20. I would say up until 20 is when I would have hit around 50K.
So about 40 years, working side hustles, and that's 50K on top of the money that you was making, you're living every day to day money. That was just 50K you had there sitting as like a nut where you can go move it to go invest into other ventures.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't
Yeah,
just
that wasn't.
K as far as between investments, savings, inventory, and then of course I had the income coming in from sales and from my job.
Cool. Well, thanks a lot.